Any announcements? Okay, old business minutes. Those were sent out a few weeks ago.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Thanks, Stan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. New business. There's some rumblings from a couple of individuals about meeting frequency.
I know I was asking the question because things get pretty busy coming up here. And I know we just have a ton of million things to do and stuff, but I know I was asking some questions. This is Doug, by the way, in case you guys can't hear me. I was just asking questions about the frequency of meetings and whether they have to be monthly or whether they can go to every other month or quarterly. I know different counties do different things. At one point I had a list of who met quarterly, who met every other month, you know. So I was just initially asking the question, you know, A, can we do it? And then B, would there be any interest in anybody else? Has anybody else ever expressed interest in possibly moving back to maybe every other month? But thanks for bringing it up to see what anybody's thoughts are. Me personally, I think it'd be great to move to every other month because sometimes we just, you know, repeat a lot of similar stuff. But what do you guys think?
Administratively, we would have to change the bylaws and that would have to go through the legislature.
We have the ability as a board to just on a case-by-case basis, just call our next meeting to be, well, you know, skip the month of May.
We have skipped
We've done that.
summer because sometimes we can't get enough people.
Right. So I mean, that's always another option if we just know that there's busy season or busy time, grant writing season. You know, it's nice to get together in the spring, monthly, only because that's when the state rolling out funding opportunities. We as an agency can get together and vote to support certain projects. But we have the flexibility as a board to just cancel a few meetings too without having to adjust bylaws. That's always another option in my mind.
Or cancel until it's updated. You don't cancel every other month until the legislature can do it, if that's what everybody wants.
Right.
Are there any other opinions about that? Any other inputs? Yeah, thoughts?
So from the county's witnessing county budget shenanigans, I think it's in our body's best interest to meet as regularly as we can, even if not everyone can make those meetings, and try to up our influence, programming, etc. as they're looking to make major cuts in areas that affect a lot of the people that participate on this board. So as a way going into budget season to say, no, we are an effective agency, even though maybe we've kind of been a little lax in recent years, but to try to do more, to try to have meaningful speakers and programming and stuff. And if we are in a situation where in the past, you know, people let Michelle know they can't make it, we're not gonna have quorum, then, you know, then we cancel. But I would hate for us to inadvertently shoot ourselves in the foot, you know, with everything that's going on, and it's still gonna, last year's budget cycle was terrible, this year's not gonna be any better.
Right, and I guess what I'm looking at is, I don't know what WQMA did for either of our budgets. I mean, we got cut $70,000. Dan got cut, you guys got cut, so I don't know, did we even have any impact? I mean, as a QMA, we see each other at a lot of different meetings, but I definitely get what you're saying. We want to make sure that they understand that water quality is important.
Right.
And that
And maybe like strategically as a board, we can start to think about programming or
Right,
ways to identify ourselves in the community to show the
And I
importance
know-
of water quality in Cayuga County.
many years ago, Michelle reminded me, right, if I misstate this, but many years ago, somewhat regularly, this body passed resolutions asking the legislature to do things or the city to do things or whatever, right, to support things. So kind of getting back in their face a little bit to bring things back to the level of importance to say, we want you to, you know, make sure that you're making this a priority. We want you to also support these initiatives and things that we're trying to do and our partner agencies are trying to do. You know, I think we have to get in their face. They know water quality is important, but
No one's talking about it.
no one's talking about it. And there's a portion of them that are like, oh, we don't represent anyone in the Owasco watershed, so it doesn't matter. Well, we cover the whole county, not just Owasco, and that rightfully so gets a lot of attention, but it shouldn't get all of the attention. I know that I'm kind of jumping slightly to take the fun out of my report, but we do have a new planner coming on in 2 weeks. And we have intentionally hired someone who will be kind of picking up some environmental planning, learning from and supporting Michelle, and hopefully being able to expand some of the work that Michelle hasn't been able to go after new grants and new implementation and things because she's a one-man band. And then the plan is going to kind of flow between environmental and land use so that we're doing some very early on succession planning and training and learning so that we can expand what we're doing from a county planning perspective for natural resource protection, water quality, all of those things. So I agree that if all we were going to do is just report out, hey, here's all the good things that we're doing, you know, monthly meetings, probably not. But if we want to become a more active body again, then meeting monthly when we can, I think is going to be important.
Yeah, I would agree with Carrie. I think we've had just a few asks over the last several years, and every single time there is some sort of ask related to water quality, it gets more and more and more scrutinized. Do we really need to be paying for this? What value are we getting out of it? And the thing is, like, I've never, and I don't tune into every legislative meeting, but I don't remember a time in the last 4 years that WQMA has presented to the legislature on countywide water quality issues. And so I think that it's important that maybe we start becoming a little bit more active in that space because things are getting looked at. Every single thing is getting looked at in the budget. And I feel it very intensely at the health department. And like planning and environmental health or the health department are the only two departments across the whole entire county that even touch the environment. That's not obviously not including you guys, but I'm talking about actual county departments that are funded by the county exclusively. So I think maybe we trial canceling months with lower attendance and relieve the pressure. But maybe we can come up with some sort of strategic initiative or something. You know, I know it's very hard. I'm hating myself I'm sure I'm going to kick myself for saying this, of making more work for ourselves. We're all stretched so thin, and I feel that very, very, very much myself. I never take a lunch break, and I work from 8 to 10 o'clock a lot of nights, and I'm not getting paid for it. So it's like, I get it. But we don't want to be the thing that gets on the chopping block because they don't see any value, you know, and then what? So,
I think it's a good opportunity for all of our partner agencies, even soil, water, and project extension. So that you're not waiting until budget season to say, here's what we do, don't cut our money. If we can routinely have, you guys have great updates, but they just glaze over them. You know, even when you go to committee meetings, they're tuning you out, they're not listening, they should be, but they don't. So if we can have another opportunity, you know, I don't know if WQMA is technically on any of the report to lists for committees, but
not that I'm aware of.
it's something that we can bring up and try to decide which committee or maybe the full ledge, and can start submitting a report or making a request to have.
Yeah.
Even if it's a quarterly update
Yeah.
to the ledge, not every month. But.
Yeah. And do,
Any feedback back to the legislator
Hmm?
without any direct feedback to the legislator or any money moving back and forth or asks. We're just kind of sitting here.
No one asks about us, not as far as I'm aware.
We do get,
One question that we have no budget, right? There's no budget associated with this agency.
Not with the agency itself.
No, but there's
With a lot-
administrative overhead, essentially, time that we are paid to be here.
Right.
That could be. Don't focus on that anymore. Do other things. So,
and the legislators are on my blog list, my newsletter list, the work plan, the year-end report,
Mhm.
and the meeting announcements. And sometimes I hear back, like a thank you for sending this, or
so definitely a good discussion. I think it's important that we do talk about it. Yes, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I just wanted to give comments based on, association
Mhm.
partners and, I think, I'm speaking for all, that less would be better. Especially this time of year when most of us that are on this committee are retired and are somewhere else in the country. Or wherever, and I sort of noticed that the lake associations are not well attended during this time of year. And probably in the middle of the summer when it's real busy and they've got families, that's another time that, so, and I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that coming every month can, for us lake association people, it's tough to make everyone.
Ani, can I just chime in?
Yes, Aaron, go ahead.
Just as like an informational thing, because I go to the Oswego County Water Quality Coordinating Committee, the Madison County, and then Onondaga County, but none of them meet monthly. But I will say, I do think you guys have like the best machinery. There's in the 5-county area that I deal with, you guys are the Cayuga County WQMA. There's nothing else like it that I'm familiar with. Like Onondaga County has kind of a loose association that meets basically every month. It's not very well attended, and it just is sort of an information sharing thing. So, that's I offer this purely as information that and the 5 counties again in central New York, Cayuga County is the only one that meets monthly. But personally, I think that's really very cool and impressive. It's a great information sharing, and it's a good way for somebody like me who doesn't necessarily know what's going on with you guys, day by day. It's a nice way for me to kind of catch up and get a broad overview of what all's going on in your county. So I just toss that out there. Oh, and I'll say Oswego County meets like twice a year. And Madison County meets once a year. And I've never been to a Cortland County meeting, so there you go.
Okay.
But without being in contact with the legislator that should be doing. What are we accomplishing? I mean, we're keeping each other updated, which is phenomenal, but nothing really goes past these walls that I'm aware of.
Got the communication and outreach, so there's,
Mhm.
you
Yeah, we have our quarterly reports, the blogs, all of those go to all the legislators.
But do they actually look at them? I don't know.
Some of them acknowledge them sometimes, yes.
Good.
Yep. There are some more engaged than others. I will remind everyone, we are the county with the highest lake frontage in the whole entire state. We have more feet of lake frontage than any other county in the whole state. Isn't that true?
It is.
Yeah, okay, I'm like shocked that you guys don't know this.
That would be a great thing to bring up to the list.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Sure, if I have no issue going to give a semi-annual update to the legislature on all of the programs that are going on in all the counties. Of course, we're SOL for the next 6 months. But maybe if we can muster something together by June, then, kind of put a conglomeration of what each lake or lake associations as a whole are doing on their respective lakes. I mean, everyone always hears about Owasco Lake here, obviously, and Cayuga Lake, but Like we've got Duck Lake, Little Soda State, we've got Lake Como, we've got so many other areas that we could be touching upon and reminding people that these are recreational opportunities for our economy, you know, like maybe if we can bring some of that language in and stuff like that. Yes, I totally agree. I won't say irrelevant, but we are not at the top of minds of the legislature. And I think we're just concerned that meeting less is going to have a negative impact, but maybe we can just be a bit more impactful each time we do meet. And so maybe we do quorum meetings every other month, and then on the off months, people send in updates, or we have a 30-minute meeting for updates, and then there's our other meeting. Does every meeting have to, I mean, obviously, if there's not quorum, there's not quorum, it is what it is. Like more casual every other month, where if you have updates, you provide them and they get sent out to the membership. And then if you don't have updates, you read what everyone else says afterwards, you know, I mean, like just some ideas, but I also don't want to have to go through the administrative process of changing the bylaws because it's really annoying and it puts work on one person to have to do that. So,
And it may or may not put us under an unnecessary negative microscope.
Yeah. like, oh, why are they meeting us? Is this, you know, like negative attention?
And like I said before, you know, with Bruce and Eileen and, you know, versions past of this body, there was a lot more, you know, debate and discussion and resolutions and letters and things that went to the legislature were brought to their attention to support for things and push for things. And I'm not saying we've gotten complacent, but, you know, we've kind of just fallen into a pattern of we're just updating or having presentations. And if there's an opportunity going forward to, from this body, help push and support initiatives and make funding requests and make it known that don't cut any more from the budget because this is important. You know, we need to restore money to soil and water for these things, you know, that aren't just great for Owasco Lake, but for the whole county, you know. Making sure that our time is overall across the year, meaningful, and impactful somehow.
We have a legislative rep for the board? Or for the committee?
No,
I just wonder.
Are we required to?
There should be.
Yeah, there should be. Should be. So maybe that's a request, maybe that's
Mhm.
I'll make a motion that we make a request to the legislature, to the chair of the ledge, to appoint someone to attend WQMA.
Second.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through the bylaws to see if there's anything about
Right.
that in there. I think Michelle would know if there was, but y'all didn't know that we had the highest number of lake frontage in the whole state, so.
Most miles of shoreline, in our lakes and our rivers and stuff. I'm not gonna guarantee anyone's gonna come to
Yeah,
the ledge, but you know, it is an important topic, and if they're gonna be trying to make decisions on funding for agencies and departments, it would be good for them to attend.
any more input online? I don't know if anyone else has any opinions about this, Ed, or,
Hello?
yes?
Yep.
Do you have any input?
You know,
We've
yeah,
been
well,
talking about-
I think that, I like the idea, less is more, but I understand the reasonings why we shouldn't do it, and because of the bylaws, we probably should just keep it the same.
and I had a suggestion from somebody to like do some more meetings away from here.
Oh, yeah, that would be helpful too. Mhm.
Back out on the road.
So
Yeah.
looking maybe Sterling again and
Yeah.
possibly Fillmore Nature Reserve.
Oh,
We're-
but is there anything there?
There's trails, but you have to walk down.
Yeah, just like if it like rains a day,
Well, that's what
You
we
know.
know as backup.
um,
But I thought maybe people might want to see it, so it'd be like a
maybe the
like
skate park down there or
like an
something.
optional meeting.
We've got a conference room we used to.
At
At-
the board
Right on-
conference.
right on the farm.
At the farm? Okay,
Okay.
if you're offering.
Yeah.
Great.
What would be a good month?
Not me.
August.
July.
Do we want,
Yeah, in the middle of summer.
I moved the July to July 10th and Grayson can present. But I don't know if we want to, I can maybe push her a month and that way we skip July since it's a holiday.
Do you have technological capabilities at the conference room?
Mhm.
Okay. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me when and after come July. Yeah. So y'all heard my spiel.
You let me know what
Have
month
to rehash
works for
it out.
you and I can just book it.
Yeah.
The only
And it would be nice for Grayson because she's down in Ithaca. So, whoopsies, I broke your pen. Driving to Genoa, Venice, whatever area is a lot easier. Where is your farm? Genoa, King Ferry, Venice. Okay, so yeah,
Give her phone in on it.
yeah. That area of the county is easier than scheduling her here up in Sterling, you know, so we can reach out to her and
So
see.
July 10th works for you? Or do we want to skip July and make it see if I can get her a different month?
The village of Cayuga is a nice spot too.
Yeah,
And if there's a way to tie some of our visits with projects that
hmm
anyone are working on, so we
Yeah.
can actually get out and see some of the good work that you guys are doing,
So we
or
can
things
like
that,
tour and lagoon covers.
yeah,
That kind of.
or if there's an issue that needs to be addressed, we want to make sure we all get to see it.
Yeah, I think we should have just you that day, not a presentation.
Yeah, I think there's plenty to see down there.
So not July then. But any other month works, whenever. Just let me know what works for you.
Okay. I think that was productive discussion.
Other thing too, I don't know if we can reach out to every member and agency and just ask for a testimonial, just how does WQMA impact their professional life and personal life? Just to better understand how we're perceived by our current, having Aaron speak up there for a second was interesting to me. I'd never heard that before. It's better to kind of understand where our partners are coming from, what their perception is of our agency. So we can maybe fine tune around what's good and migrate away from what's bad.
I think that's a good idea. All right, so is everyone okay with leaving it as it is for now and skipping meetings as appropriate and necessary and then kind of taking it from there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We never finished Carrie's motion.
I seconded it.
Yeah,
Can
I
we
had-
vote?
Can we repeat it?
Yes.
I was a
Carrie.
motion for the chair to send a request to the chair of the legislature that he appoint a member of the legislature to this agency to attend meeting.
All in
You
favor?
seconded it? Yeah.
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? Okie dokie. I think that's enough for new business today. Um,
Seems always worth it too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
alrighty. The working groups, committee reports, communication and outreach working group. Updates?
Got a March newsletter out. And, I think there was a recent blog post.
Yes,
Yes. I saw that.
that was from Adam.
And so we're working on that. We got our newsletter schedule set for the rest of the year. That's pretty much it for this month.
If anyone has any newsletter or blog post ideas, send them over to Dan.
I know June is gonna be invasive species is the main topic since it's invasive species month. We're gonna try to get it out at the end of like the first day of June.
Okay.
so people know it's coming up. It's like the second week of June.
Okay, great. Invasive species working group. Is
Ditto.
is that the update?
Yeah.
Are there volunteer opportunities coming up around PCs, or is that more summertime?
It's a little early. Does anybody?
Nothing with like the mustard poles or anything like that coming up?
Nah, they recommended not pulling garlic mustard
We're
anymore
not doing that.
because it makes it worse.
It probably spreads follicles all over the place. And
It actually
I
will.
also have no idea.
If you leave the garlic mustard alone, it eventually kind of goes away on its own. You pull it, it stimulates it.
All right, agency reports, for Cayuga County Environmental Health. We are, inspection season technically kicked off two days ago on April 1st. We are inspecting. I don't think anyone this year for waterfront on Owasco Lake, at least. That's every other year on the even years. But we're doing plenty of other towns. Sorry, I forgot to pull that up. Letters are going out and shortly, and if they haven't already. And we actually have increased our number of community or non-community water systems by 6 in the last year, which is like a crazy number. For wineries, migrant labor housing, we've totally redone a water system for a gas station. So there's been a lot of activity related to that, which has been a little unusual. There are years where we get no plans for any new water systems, but in the last year we've gotten at least 6. So that's been quite a bit of work. I'll be going out in a couple months, 3 months or so, and we'll be a slight void of review capacity. We're down a couple staff members, unfortunately, for a variety of reasons. And yeah, we're just trying to be as efficient as possible. And people are definitely starting to inquire about the lake, all the lakes, and HAB season is going to be on us before we even know it. And we're already doing trainings with the state health department on what do you do if you see a HAB at a bathing beach and stuff like that. And we've been working with a CSI to determine on Cayuga Lake where are appropriate locations to sample and stuff. So yeah, just plugging along. I don't think we have anyone for Parks Department. Planning Department.
All right, so just a reminder, we are starting a couple large countywide planning initiatives this month. The countywide strategic plan, that's gonna be a 36-month project. As well as our countywide brownfield opportunity area pre-planning grant, that's a 24-month project. So staff will be engaged with those projects as well as everything else that's already on their plate and still coming. As I mentioned, we do have a new planner starting in 2 weeks. We're really excited about that. You will get to see a lot of her. She'll be shadowing Michelle to a lot of things, including coming here, as well as some of our land use stuff. So hoping that we can expand our offerings and our programming and good work that Michelle already does. For specific project updates, I'll kick it to Michelle.
So we finally got our quality assurance project plan approved by the DEC for the Owasco Lake tributary sampling program. We have our training scheduled the 14th to train the volunteers. We're going to be using a sond that the management council owns to do some additional work. And we've worked with SUNY ESF, and they're going to be doing alkalinity for us for free as part of their research. They've started to look at our data and collecting more. We're hoping to also do flow data with a professor. She's writing a a project plan. So hopefully we can work with the DEC and get that approved. So I'll have flow data along with our sampling. And I'm currently working on the agreement with CSI for their Cayuga Lake tributary sampling program. So we're funding that again this year. And then Ani mentioned the CSI HABs program, and I'm working with her on that too.
I have one other important announcement. Everyone is now a principal environmental. Promotion was approved last month.
Yay.
25 years well deserved for the job.
Okie dokie. Soil and water.
All right, so we finalized our annual report. A lot of hard work went into getting this thing done and on time, so we finished it last month, and I forgot to actually bring it to the meeting, so here's a copy. I'll pass hard copies around, but if anybody wants it, go for it. If not, there's online digital versions too. If you want copies for the office or whatever the public, let me know. We have probably about 20 left. I'll be glad to share them, but yeah, check it out. A lot of hard work goes into that from our staff and from others. You'll see we're all around the county, get involved with a lot of different stuff. So I'm old school, so I still get, printed materials to give out instead of just telling everybody to do digital, because there's something about holding it, looking at it, flipping through it, and you I don't know, seems to appreciate it more than just doing it online. So like I say, if you needed a couple more, to share, if you're not here and you want some copies, just let me know. We can always send you one too, but there is a digital version out there. For us here, we got a lot of grant stuff done. Our big thing is waiting to see from the New York State budget when that gets passed. What does the EPF budget look like? Obviously we rely on EPF for a lot of our grant programs, and some funding from the state. So there's a lot of talk out there, but I'm not sure. Last we knew it was 400 million. They were thinking about bumping it to 500 million. I don't know where any of that is. So kind of anxiously awaiting to see where that ends up. One thing that is got us a little bit nervous is the DEC is redoing a lot of their general permits, and one of them is on the invasive species. And one of them, and this will impact, I don't know if anybody's on the call for the weed cutting, but mechanical harvesting now is going to be, we have to get a permit for it, according to the draft. We don't know what that's going to, mechanical harvesting like we do, where we cut it and then we collect it and then we offload it and take it to an upland spot and location in a farm field or so. That's never been covered before. Hand pulling was, maybe some, pesticide application, things like that, but not actual mechanical harvesting. So I don't know what that's gonna look like. We've got to send them some maps in, and we got to talk to them. Weeds change every year. I don't know. I sent a bunch of comments. Comments were due by the 31st, and we'll see if it just stays and they just take their draft off it and becomes a general permit. We'll see when that kicks in and how it's going to impact our schedule. I know that it takes us between 6 to 8 months to get a stream permit now. I can only imagine how long this one can take. Maybe it's an easier process, but I think it's the same office that's going to be reviewing them. So if that's the case and it drops soon, we might not cut weeds this year. And I'll leave that up to the residents to figure out what they want to do with that. We'll be, it'd probably involve contacting DC and see what they got to do. But we'll see when the draft is done, but that's going to be a big deal for us. And like I say, the streams, and I don't know if this has to do with the new wetlands from the DEC, and we'll let DC talk about their wetland stuff, not from us, but more regulation doesn't make getting conservation on the ground any easier for us or for anybody. We don't get special treatment, not that we ask for it, but the reviewing agencies are limited in their staff, and I get it. And all of a sudden, if they have to review 500 new pieces of paper, it's going to take a while to get through that. So that's just going to back the whole system. And with this now, suddenly something simple like weed harvesting, when you're not disturbing the bed or banks or anything really, and we don't cut hydrilla, water chestnut's very controlled. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I'll keep you guys updated as we go through. Maybe if we find out that the draft permit, I don't know how many comments they got. Maybe they didn't get that many other than the ones I sent in. It'll be a quick turnaround. I have no idea. But it's not to be concerned about, I think. But we'll know more. On a more positive note, we have our tree and shrub sale, last day to order. And now that we got weather, we come in, hopefully we get some warmer weather, but the 29th of April, and the pickup would be May 9th. I didn't do it during announcements because I figured I'd just do it during the report. Maybe I should have went through announcements, but I do want to congratulate publicly Tim Schneider. He was the winner of the Division II Merit Award for the Conservation Districts. So we're part of Division II. There's maybe 11 or 13 counties. Jason Cutterback won the award last year, and this year Tim Schneider was recognized by the group. So it's that was at the Water Quality Symposium at the awards banquet last month.
Another reason the legislator representative should be here to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good recognition that he does a great job for us. He's our field manager, oversees a lot of the projects that we do here with our motor equipment operators. So
Hey Doug, send that to me.
yeah,
I'll do a blog and that goes to all the legislators.
it's in my ledge report. I could send you that.
Oh, if it's in the ledge report, I can just copy it out of there.
Yeah, usually I put what the award is for. And
I'll just get a picture of him to me,
okay,
if you have one from the award or something.
Good picture.
let's just say usually the field one and stuff like that. So no, it's good that they work it, but it does a lot of good work. Been here for 10 years. We did also hire a couple new staff, 2 motor equipment operators that are going to be working on the actual direct implementation of projects that we get involved with, and then 1 technician. Our watershed conservation specialist position has been filled as well. That was vacated when Robbie went back to school. So she's going to be working. She's from USDA. She was unfortunately one of the well, fortunately for us, maybe unfortunately for them, but one of the layoffs the probationary layoffs that occurred. She was working through USDA. She got laid off. We had an opening. We worked together on a date when she could start. So she started several weeks ago, probably close to a month now. And she's going to be working on ag BMPs and working with the farms. So Angelina Van Camp. And our motor equipment operators are Devin Sherman and yeah, you might know from the area. And Bruce Nodine. He was number 2 with Highway and was a former town highway superintendent for Sempronius. So we're glad to have them on board. We got a lot of work lined up, so they'll be busy right out the gate. So that's good. And then a lot of our staff attended training at the Water Quality Symposium last month on a whole host of different topics that we deal with, from wetlands to stormwater to ag BMPs. It's always good training. It's week long. It's Tuesday through Friday. And this year it was in Rochester. It's been in Syracuse. It's been in Auburn. It bounces around the state. And that about 300 people, 300 technical folks from the soil and water districts across the state attended. It's good bonding, get to know everybody. A lot of good times there. A lot of people you meet that you know your whole career. So we got that going on. Any questions? I'll be glad to take it.
I have one, I don't know if it's for you or for the whole group, but the new wetland regulations. Is there a good fact sheet on that? Like a guidance, like a quick guidance document for localities? Have you seen anything like that?
Well, through the environmental resource mapper, they have the information on this. So before, if you went into the environmental resource mapper through the DEC's website, the green, the green blocks used to be the wetlands. Now they have purple ones up there that are informational only because they're not going off of lines and maps anymore. It's just if you see the 3 criteria primarily. If there's hydric soils and standing water and vegetation, then it could be a wetland. And then they might need to do a determination. I think they're still feeling the program now. From our interactions and the different trainings and different webinars, if you guys have attended them,
Yeah.
I think this thing is out there, and I think they're trying to. I'm not gonna speak for the DEC, obviously, but I think they're still trying to find their way through it as well.
I don't think there's a fact sheet just yet, but I know that a lot of agencies and folks have asked DEC staff to come give like an in-person explanation training of what the heck this means. And I think regional planning was gonna try to do that in coming months. Erin's been doing some research on that, I think. Michelle, was there gonna be another one in person that you were gonna go to? Someone's coming?
Slopa's trying to get
Slopa.
somebody to speak.
Right.
I did look
That's something-
for
Is that something we should do as an agency is to focus in on those regulations, what they mean, and try to inform the towns, villages, and, you know, the community.
Yeah, and I think Michelle and I had talked about, as maybe one of the speakers for the rest of the year for here, if we could get someone from DEC to come, or, one of our online partners to give us,
As long as it doesn't stop here and it can get,
Right.
you know, something.
we can get a better understanding and then try to distill that out. So I know that they've been trying to push webinars and stuff to the municipalities, but like Doug said, I think DEC is still trying to,
Clear
the
as mud,
staff
yeah.
is trying to figure
Yeah.
out what this means as well.
So this came up with the Conference of Environmental Health Directors. Our meeting is in a few weeks, and someone was asking in preparation, has anyone gone through the new process or anything? And someone did respond from out in Chautauqua County, and she said DEC was recently at a public presentation in Chautauqua because people around the lake have been very vocal of their opinions of the regulations. The step-by-step description of the process that DEC gave to the public was, and before I go through the 4 steps, I want to see if there's anyone from any of the DEC representatives online. Are you very familiar with the new regulations revolving around wetlands? Yeah, maybe a little bit.
We're briefed on it a little bit,
Yes.
but we mostly
Okay.
rely on lands and forests to speak
Okay.
on anything.
Okay.
So I'll divert anything to them.
Okay, so I'll go through, this is what the information that was given to Chautauqua County is, if you guys are interested
I'll listen.
on the step-by-step. 1, if a property owner suspects their parcel has wetlands, they should request the JD online, jurisdictional delineation determination. DEC has 90 days to get back to you. 2, if the property owner gets a positive response from DEC, the property owner then submits a request for delineation. 3, if the delineation site visit from DEC determines there's a wetland to be concerned about, DEC requests the project proposal to determine if the nature of the project would impact the delineated wetland. And then 4, DEC will then consider if or how the project will impact the wetland. If a project will impact the wetland, DEC looks for ways to work with the property owner to relocate the project or redesign it to reduce the impact on the wetland. So
There's 90 days and one of those steps.
90 days
Sure.
just for them to maybe get back to you, and then you have to schedule them to come out if they think there's, so project delays in our 3-month construction season that we have, there's 3 months right there. So it's definitely
Sounds like a year.
posing some heartburn amongst folks out in other counties.
Those vernal pools.
They don't have staff either.
And not to mention it's a multi-layer situation. I mean, like at the health department, we regulate septic systems. Code enforcement is giving people building permits before their septics are approved. What happens when you build your house and then you find out that the only place to put your septic system is technically a wetland? Not that anyone should be doing that to begin with, because if it's potentially a wetland, it should be fairly obvious to the designer that there might be some sort of impact, but it's a constant struggle and there's multiple layers to get through, and so that's just the information that was given, which is that this is the most clear-cut step-by-step process I have seen about this, but it definitely still leaves some questions.
I'll say, we had, in Onondaga County, they do an annual planning symposium get together, and Dareth Glantz, the District 7 DEC director, gave a great presentation breaking down the whole process. That the slides might be online or something. I'm not sure about that, but so we actually are trying to get Dareth to come to one of our regional planning board meetings in a couple of months here, probably like in June.
Great, thanks. Someone started talking over here. I didn't. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I have a very small statement. Doug, you just are wrestling with getting your cutter going. Our cutter, we have a small cutter. And we went to renew the permit. And he ran into this here problem with the DEC, I guess, mostly. And he come roaring into my house here just the other day And he says, I'm having trouble getting this permit. The DEC has got some requirements and this and that. And I said, well, this is new to me because I'm not on the board anymore. I'm just a member. And, I said to him, all you can do is stick with them and hopefully they'll get it ironed out. He's running into the same conditions. They may want to come out, they want to do this and that. And of course, we have wetlands at the north end of the lake and we have wetlands at the south end of the lake. And it extends out quite a few acres. And they don't even want to cut anywhere near that. They just want to go along in front of the docks, you know, and clear some of the milfoil out, stuff like that. So we're gonna wrestle with this too. At least we're not alone,
No, you handle them.
so.
My favorite few words, forgiveness instead of permission. Just kidding. Their fines are a lot larger than ours. Okay,
Yeah. they go. You know, it's great.
yeah, I think we just kind of gotta wait and see. Aren't there maps weren't they supposed to take their maps off of ERM?
But they get after on.
Yeah. I
The-
think they
It's
just
informational.
changed it to
Information only. Okay. Because I'm wrestling with a project right around the corner where someone has a failing septic system and the only place to go to not involve a very, very, very costly repair is closer to what is a wetland, but it's dry, according to the engineer that was there and dug test holes and stuff. So I'm like, I don't know what to do at this point. I'm like, just stay as far away as you can, like. Mhm.
Because there's the parcel one. and
But then
the
this-
consultant One, right?
This wastewater surfacing on the ground for 90 days while we just wait to see if they're interested, you know, so it's just like, what is gonna be more damaging? So, okay.
Aaron sent a slide.
Aaron sent us slides. We will send the slides out for the DEC presentation from Dareth. Okay, thanks, Aaron. All right, we should probably just keep moving on here. This has been our longest meeting so far. Solid waste management update.
Just
See, it's important that we meet regularly, guys.
two brief things. We had our spring electronics recycling event on March 22nd. So thank you, Dan and Ryan, who's not here.
He's
For
online.
coming out. Oh, he is. Oh, thank you, Ryan. We got a little over 57,000 pounds of electronics. I also want to express a big gratitude to the county highway guys. They had their 2 locations for the event and they seem to be getting a lot of material diverted from our Auburn location. So that's great. And then the only other thing is I've been working with Doug. He's been doing a lot of the work for it, but still figuring out some details, but we have the tire recycling event scheduled for June 7th.
Yeah, those satellite locations at the county highway garages in Ira and Venice are working really well. So
Mhm.
this is our second e-waste we did last fall. So we're highways excited because they're seeing less stuff along the roadway.
Right.
So that, and Sun King's been willing to do that. You are possibly looking to set up maybe something in Brutus Weedsport. They've had an ask for.
Yeah, the town of Brutus highway superintendent asked if they could try to set up some sort of collection point, either connected to our event or as their own event. But yeah.
Have you gotten involved in any outreach or communication with PFAS and solid waste?
No,
No.
not really.
One thing that I heard a couple weeks ago in a meeting with Casella, they're a big, strong partner of ours in hauling our landfill sludge, or our wastewater treatment plant sludge. That the Ontario landfill is set to close in the next few years. Heard anything from Senator Meadows?
No, at the moment, I just know that within the next decade, both those landfills, which are primarily the landfills that service this region, are going to close.
The town board did approve,
Locally.
they're local, so they're still waiting on DEC. And that would
He
only,
was probably waiting on that.
right, and if that goes out to 2030, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Something. But there's still some local opposition and protest to that, but with Ontario is a set close in 26 or 28.
Yeah, I thought it was 28.
That leaves us just Seneca Meadows.
Has there been any more talk in the region around incineration? Or other sites considered for incineration? Sure.
I'm not in any of that communication if there is, yeah.
Did they pass a law banning incineration in the Finger Lakes region?
Yeah.
Completely the whole region,
I think so. I thought that was passed when Como was still the governor. I thought.
when Ovid was considering, or that they were
Yeah.
considering.
When Romulus was looking at it, yeah. Yeah. They were looking at trying to do that as part of the former Army Depot.
Yeah.
On some of the land there, the IDA was gonna allow a project, and Finger Lakes region got a lot of steam and got a state law passed to ban that.
Now we're gonna truck it somewhere else.
Well, it's really
It's not my
interesting
backyard.
about the incineration point, because when I took the PE exam, solid waste management is one of the topics that you get tested on for the environmental exam. And landfilling is the last resort. It's the least desired option. Incineration is desired above that. However, in New York, we're almost anti-incineration. However, there is a lot of concern in areas surrounding the incineration plants. I think the air scrubbing is maybe not up to the best standard it could be. I don't know very much about it, to be honest. My waste in Onondaga County goes to Rock Cut Road and gets burned, so I have to tell my husband, just because you can burn it for energy doesn't mean we should be burning it for energy, but he's like, yeah, plastic, just burn it. It's higher BTU, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how about we just don't buy it to begin with, I'm like, isn't that the first word? Reduce, reuse, recycle, So anyways, just interesting that New York seems to be so anti-incineration when other organizations are not preaching, but
It's higher on
it's
choice.
yeah, of more desirable choices. So, anyways. Okay, all good? Evan? Yeah. All right, Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Like Evan mentioned, we helped out with the, electronics, recycling, just wanted to, I don't remember if I mentioned it last month, but since people are still having trouble finding us, we are back on Grand Avenue at 248.
Oh, yeah.
In the Workforce Development Center, in case anybody's looking for us.
Can we meet there? Is there a meeting space there?
We could probably do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have nice.
That'd be
Good idea.
As long as the air conditioning works for July.
Well, we'll have to see. Hasn't been turned on yet, so I'm not,
We'll know.
but I should be able to let you know. And then, just, this is the time of year we kind of switch out of doing, workshop-based programs and work with farmers more one-on-one, respond to calls coming in, so we're, moving in that direction. Unfortunately, I have to get going. I have a meeting in Groton I gotta get to,
No worries.
unless there's questions.
You gotta go.
All right. That's all.
No. Okay, City of Auburn, Seth, what do you got?
I just had questions. So our subwatershed assessment grant, was approved by city council a few weeks ago. Working on contract with, EA Engineering to assist us with that project. And one interesting thing, Michelle and I have been on an email string a little bit back and forth with USGS around the gauge station. That we partner with them on, and then the county partners with a separate gauge station. They're very important to the city of Auburn. They're very important to this community from like an emergency response standpoint, and understanding flows and lake elevation of Owasco Lake and then the river flow through the river, the outlet of the lake. Sounds like they're working on updating some of their technology over the next few years. I offered to them to be a pilot potentially for that newer technology that, of course, costs won't go down, but if it could be more efficient, or they're looking to mount like webcams on them to better understand the stream profile, or if things like logs or debris are in the way of that channel measurement that they're doing. We could be a little bit more precise with our measurements, proactive with our maintenance, potentially even partner with them so they don't have to send a field crew out to do a calibration or adjustment. They have the camera, they could just call us and locally, we could respond and remove the debris that's causing concern, or maybe some flakiness in their readouts. So I'm going to continue that conversation with them. I'm interested to know more about what their large scale plan is. I met with them down in New Orleans when I was at a conference, national conference for water and environment this past fall. And at that time, they had additional funding that was rolling in because of the water quality benefit associated with stream gauge stations, not just FEMA and disaster, and working on new platforms that are more interactive and engaging with the public. So that could be an interesting follow-up at some point for WQMA to better understand that and participate maybe a little bit more proactively with them on newer technology that they're looking to advance. Because part of this sub-watershed assessment is to look at installation of stream gauge stations on Vanessa and Sucker Brook to better be more precise with nutrient loading. The model, the 9-element plan model. In May, the Management Council and Watershed Inspection Program will be in front of City Council for their annual update. I think it's the second Thursday in May, whatever date that is. I'm sorry, I don't have that on the top of my head. We're busy at our wastewater treatment plant. Biosolids project is in full swing. Lots of construction going on at any given point in time. There's 40 to 60 people crawling all over our site building. And we'll have a ton of systems going online this year. Our digesters will go online this summer. And our dryer should go on sometime later this year, early next year. We're also looking to do our overflow retention facility improvements as early as construction may begin on that work this spring as well. That'll reduce the number of occurrences of the CSO overflow at our ORF because of additional tankage and volume that we'll be adding. And then the water quality parameters and our ability to treat those flows will be greatly improved because this facility will be designed for that specifically. Where what we're using right now is our 1924 wastewater treatment plant primary tanks that were not designed for the application of an ORF event. Taking advantage of the state asset management program at our treatment plant to try to get ahead of planning and implementing all of our assets into one location. We can start to build out capital improvement plans that way and hopefully build into our water treatment facility that same technology. Lead service line program is going well. Our GIS consultant has been hired, and we are going to be doing a ton of outreach this summer and filling out our inventory, completing that work. I think I mentioned it before, but the city of Auburn is pretty lucky. You see a lot of lead service line news blips across the state, across the country. Many communities predominantly have lead service lines in their system. The city of Auburn does not. Skip that as a standard. Luckily, I want to galvanize service lines to copper service lines. So very minimal. And Auburn. It's great.
However, the occurrence of childhood lead poisoning is higher in Cayuga County as a whole than in the city of Auburn, particularly than a lot of communities with lead service lines even. So goes to show that maybe the lead service lines aren't exactly the problem.
Gotta keep our kids from eating paint.
Yes, that is true.
Seth, when the wastewater treatment plant project is done,
Yeah.
would there be an opportunity for the body to have a meeting there and get a tour?
So,
I think it would be good. You know, I did one way back in college in Buffalo, and it was really cool to just see the technology, see the whole system and how it all works. And
Yep.
I think it'd be a great opportunity for all of us to schedule that when it's all done
yeah.
and make that one of our meetings say.
Great idea.
Jeez. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I'm volunteering other places. That would be great. Have you also that?
Bring your nose plugs. Just kidding.
No, it's not that bad.
I know,
Smells
it's
like
really
money.
not that bad. Smells like money. This is true. This is true. Okie dokie. Moving right along. Town of Wasco, Ed, are you still there? Yep. You're muted.
Oh, I'm here. I had a quick meeting, so I apologize. I had to sign off for a few minutes. We're moving forward with our infiltration project. We should, waiting on the bonding should come in, and we have our temporary funding source coming in, and so we should be starting construction first part of May. So, and that's about it. Some improvements to the water plant, minor improvements to the water plant that we're doing today, SCADA system, turbidity meters, and some other stuff that we're installing at the plant. So minor stuff, nothing out of the ordinary. So that's about it for us.
Thanks, Ed. All right. Lake Association reports, Cayuga Lake. Anyone have anything for Cayuga Lake?
No.
Okay, Cross Lake Seneca River, Duck Lake.
Well, we haven't got much to report. The permit process is going along. And, Lavall's, I haven't heard anything from them on the amount of we're gonna work with and stuff like that. I haven't heard anything on that. So I don't have much to report. But everything went out. We didn't have any ice damage from the fishing was fair over the winter on ice fishing was, because the lake is just, it's touchy where you wanna go. It got pretty thick though in some spots, around 13 inches. There was a few fishermen, but they didn't get much. It's very slow. And that's about it for the latest thing on Duck Lake.
Okay, thank you. I don't see anyone for Lake Como, Little Sodas Bay.
Yeah, not a lot to report here. The level of the lake is normal. So we should have very easy season as far as that's concerned. And we had solid ice this year. I'm a little excited. We had a problem last couple of years about early weeds. I'm hoping we had a solid length of time where we had ice over that south end, and I'm hoping that knocks that problem down. The later in the season, weeds has gotten better and better. So I'm feeling pretty good about that, and we finally had a solid winter, and on a personal note, I'm hoping it knocks the ticks down.
Don't be so optimistic.
Huh?
I already got a tick off of my daughter's head last week.
My dog had one last night.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we went hiking at Baltimore Woods in Marcellus. And we go out into I have 3 acres of woods. We go out into the woods all the time. Nothing from our own woods yet, knock on wood, but Baltimore Woods, she was, 2 years old, roaming, exploring off trail, and yeah, the next morning, I found a tick on her head. thankfully not engorged or anything. And it'd been less than 24 hours, so I felt okay about that. Best way to kill them is to put them in some isopropyl alcohol. So, yeah.
I flush them.
No, don't flush them. They will live. If they live through this winter, they will live through the wastewater treatment plant.
Well, the one on his head was dead because of the
Yeah.
treatment.
Oh, okay. Okie dokie. Sorry to burst your bubble. Owasco Lake report. I don't see anyone.
Dr. Joy was supposed to be here,
Oh.
but I don't see him.
Skinny Atlas Lake. I don't see anything. Moving right on.
Does Aaron have anything
Oh, sorry.
for Skinny Atlas 90?
Sort of, we're, as I've said over the past couple of months, we're getting closer. We're really close. I had a couple of good meetings with, at this point, the recommendations, sort of the real heart of the 9-element plan is more or less set. We're just kind of refining some pieces of it at this point with DEC and Department of State. It is looking real good for getting it finally approved and all wrapped up, or at least off my plate, over the next month or two. And we're trying to figure out whether or not to do some sort of a rollout event. That may be something that we do. We had talked about doing something in the city of Syracuse, since it's the water supply for Syracuse. Now that's looking like people are like, well, nobody would go to that because it's in the city. So we'll probably do something. We did an event at the lodge, what used to be called the Welch Allen Lodge in Skinny Atlas last year. We may just kind of do a rerun of that for the 9-element plan. I'll also say we are doing, can I move on to my own thing now?
Yes, please go ahead. I was gonna say join them in.
Sure. We are still doing our stormwater workshops. These are geared toward project engineers. So if you need relatively inexpensive PDHs, if you're an engineer, let me know. We have we've got one on retrofits and redevelopment coming up a week from yesterday, so the 9th. And then at the end of the month, we're doing one on adapting to a changing climate. So these are stormwater workshops, really, again, geared toward engineers. There's a cost associated with them, $175, but it's 4 hours. It's a virtual workshop, very informative. Again, if you're if you're looking to design this kind of thing, I sit in on them. They're kind of over my head. I'm not an engineer. But if you're designing these facilities, stormwater facilities, great classes. The other thing is, I can't remember if I mentioned this before. My office has officially been awarded a RAISE grant. This is not strictly water quality related, but we got money from the Federal Highway Administration for this project called the CNY Peace Trail that our community planner, Jeannie Gleisner, who's now retired, had been pushing for years. And this is a trail that would run through all of central New York, including a bunch of legs in Cayuga County, kind of along Cayuga Lake, and also kind of between Aurora and Weedsport and Auburn and Sterling. So all over the place. So we've got a pot of money. It's almost $4 million, not for construction, but just for engineering and feasibility at this point. But I will also say that is federal money, and we're kind of treating all of our federal money right now with a lot of caution. So we're not really looking to, we've got the award announcement and then haven't heard really anything else from the federal government about that pot of money. So, it's kind of it's a nice thing, and we'll see how it materializes over the next few months.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Great Lakes program.
Hey, everybody. So just a few quick things, and I think I mentioned this last time, but just to say it again, we're gonna combine the Great Lakes program and the Finger Lakes program updates at the same time, so we'll not have to duplicate having both the programs come to the meetings. But just a couple things. There are a few funding opportunities open. So one is through DEC and Sea Grant. It's the New York Great Lakes Basin Small Grants Program. So this will fund projects that are within the Great Lakes Basin, and they will implement the goals of the Great Lakes Action Agenda to address specific actions that are identified in locally supported water quality, natural resources, or sustainable land use plans. So those can be up to $40,000, and the applications are due on May 2nd. And then a couple other things, the Great Lakes programs, Great Lakes Action Agenda, Southeast Lake Ontario Work Group meeting is going to be on May 6th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Sodus Point Village Hall. And in the chat, I can put the program flyer for that. And there is a New York State Floodplain and Stormwater Managers Association annual conference that will be happening in Ithaca, April 22nd through 24th. So that may be of interest to some. And then lastly, the Finger Lakes Watershed Program hired new staff. So Gabriel Yurden is joining us from the Tug Hill Commission as the new environmental program specialist for the program. So I'll turn it over to Gabriel really quick to introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. I don't think I've met most of you. Hello, Aaron. But yeah, like Lexi was saying, I'm coming to DEC, the Finger Lakes Watershed Program from the Tug Hill Commission. So I've worked a lot with the municipalities on a lot of the water quality coordinating committees in the North Country, Oswego, Jefferson, Oneida, and Lewis County. So look forward to continuing to work with all of you. And also, I just put a couple of links in the chat regarding the new wetland regulations. I'm also working on getting my head around them all, but I found these 3 resources pretty good for myself to be able to understand better, especially the last link. It has they're all DEC websites. The last link has a flow chart about the jurisdictional determinations, which I found especially hard to figure out the exact process. So hopefully those are helpful for some of you.
Thank you, Gabriel. Welcome to the group.
Thank you.
Just
Yeah.
a quick question. You know if anybody from the county will be attending that floodplain management seminar?
No,
Do we have a
because
flood-
we are not, our municipalities each have their own floodplain manager. The county does not do that. Each town and village, typically their code enforcement officer, as determined by their individual floodplain laws adopted in 2007.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Partners for Healthy Watersheds.
Finally met in person. We've been having calls for the last couple of years, so it's nice to get everybody in the same room. It's been a couple of years since we did that. We did that a couple months ago. Reviewed some strategy, which way we should be heading. Planning some more tours, public meetings. NIAC, New York Animal Ag Coalition has I think it's a 53-foot mobile dairy experience that you'll be seeing out and about around the state. I think they pretty much have it all booked up all the way through next fall. I think it was down somewhere near Groton just a couple days ago. That was the kickoff. So that'll be out and about. Took a lot of work to get that thing going. Not necessarily directly with Partners for Healthy Watershed, but most of the members, we were on a Zoom call with another state, a group of concerned farmers wants to update their CAFO regulations. So they're trying to push their state to have pretty much copy New York's if they can. Ours is just so much better, a lot more robust, a lot more restrictive. That's what the farmers want, just like here in New York. So that was a fascinating call. It was a eye-opening on what happens in other states. And I'm glad we're in New York. It's probably about the only time I've ever said that in my life.
Wait,
But-
I find myself saying that sometimes too, and I'm like, oh, this is weird, but
And I'm not gonna name the state because it'll knock your socks off. But that was just real good reinforcement on the work that the dairy industry and DEC and ag markets and these guys have done. throughout the years to have the reputation nationwide that that's such a amazing program that we're working with.
Great. Awesome. Thanks for that. Okay, anyone else have anything?
I took some stuff to hand out.
Oh,
People that are here.
oh, yeah.
Adam gave me these magnets for the Wasco Lake Watershed Inspection Protection Division. And then I have some flyers we handed out at about our symposium.
Is that the overview of the 9E update?
Yeah, it's the
Okay,
night
great.
committee overview.
Yeah, we should probably give an update on the 9E committee at some point at WQMA
Okay.
next time.
I'll have Adam do it. He can do
Okay,
it under
great.
his section. I'll just
Perfect.
add that to his.
Doug, you want to make your favorite motion?
Yeah, I'll make sure. Adjourn, it's the best.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okie dokie.